We're here on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern for an exciting, episode of the podcast. It's going to be a watch party of an Ethereum story. I'm excited because I wanted to get a fresh perspective on this movie, and at a period of time when the people were talking about decentralization, one of the things that came up was the fact that this movie actually got taken down from the places that people were paying for it, and essentially were taken down by these streaming services, and they were told that they couldn't use that anymore in some way, shape, or form because it was a crypto movie in a positive light, and they ended up putting it up on YouTube for everyone to use, and excited to kind of watch it here. So I'd love to introduce Maseo and Onaji B. How we doing, guys?
Go ahead, B.
Doing amazing, family. Doing amazing. Yeah, double stream day on this day going in. Back with my guys, Maseo, Better Call Saul. Yeah, comes for Let's Talk About ETH around the globe. And yeah, it's a good time. And we had this idea to do this watch party, watching this Vitalik doc. A couple of us have already seen it. It's solid. I'm excited to rewatch it. It's been a minute actually since I seen it. So I'm excited, man. We'll be in the chat having some commentary and all that good stuff. Midwest, yes. What's good, Midwest? How you doing? 2 lives in 1 day? Yeah, double stream day, baby. We here. So I'm kicking it over to my guy, Marcel. What's the word, family? Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you guys too. I'm doing well. I made so much space on my computer, and the Wi-Fi is so fast, and I still lag on this Restream app, and I don't know what to do about it. But I'm done stressing out about it because it just is what it is. But I'm excited to see this movie. I've been enjoying the podcast. I've been enjoying just looking at people creating content right now in the Ethereum ecosystem. I know like Benji and Louie and them, they're doing Off Stage, which is like a series of interviews they shot. They're rolling out one a week, I think, something like that. I've seen other content creators posting videos. Right now, we're doing our weekly bounty, right, with Poi. Picks where it didn't happen. We're giving away $100 a week to whoever has our favorite submission, Kenny and I. And that's been super sick. This week, I went out and I asked some people what's been making them smile, since that's our question. I got some folks in from Shanghai on Monday night, which was super sick. They're here for like some dermatology conference. I met this guy from Venezuela this morning, and I was like, I got to interview you. So I tried to do the whole thing in Spanish. I bumped into my limits. My Spanish wasn't as good as his, surprise, surprise. But he gave some sick responses. And, I've just been having fun and enjoying experimenting in these different formats of content. So I feel blessed and inspired by definitely what you two are up to, being consistent with streaming too. I've been seeing that and even tried to experiment in that a little bit. But I'm just excited to be in the ecosystem and trying out new things and figuring out how we, get at how this really connects with people.
Yeah, and I guess, do you want to start us off? I think I'm excited to. I know you have a pretty fresh perspective. Both Onaji B and I have seen it once, this movie. So I'm curious. What are your thoughts? What do you know about Vitalik? What are your? I mean, we've talked about him a few times in different capacities. I know you said you've seen some other similar types of documentaries, but do you want to kind of go in with an idea of what your perspective is?
Yeah, I haven't seen this. I saw like there was like some EIP thing that got pushed. They made like an animated film. I saw that. I saw the film that Peth made, and it's like the Meta Cartel Media, Meta Media is that thing, their platform. And I think I maybe watched a little bit of this, but I never finished. I don't know where I was when it came out, but I think that I was traveling. I think I was in Japan when it came out. What I know about Vitalik, I saw Vitalik actually. I met him in person very briefly when I was in Thailand, Brazil, Thailand. He was getting his breakfast. What do I know about him? I know that he got excited about blockchain after they nerfed his favorite character in World of Warcraft, and he wanted to see a better like decentralized infrastructure where people couldn't make choices that impact him. Want to mitigate externalities and support the little guy with less profit maxing entities. And what do I know about him now? I know that he's been calling for people to really focus on building the kind of internet we said we're here for. In the Ethereum ecosystem, which I think is sick. I think it's really cool. He stepped into his leadership and using his voice to really kind of guide people, not just at the theoretical level as an armchair kind of philosopher guy. Obviously, we're shipping, Ethereum is shipping, but, also at the level of how we're thinking about, right, how we approach this stuff at a cultural level. So I'm excited to see the doc. I haven't seen it. I don't know his full story, but I'm eager, to find out.
Yeah, 100%. You want to go for it,
Oh,
B?
would you? Would
Just
you?
give your perspective
Oh, oh,
before we
yeah.
launch.
Yeah, no, Mateo, that was a excellent summary for sure. That piece about World of Warcraft made me laugh, but that's kind of what we need, and I think it is kind of groundbreaking and pretty cool to have somebody just have some his character nerfed or whatever, and he's like, okay, this enough is enough, and be able to like create something and put something out into the world, on a digital level that we'll watch the movie and see how big it gets and how big it's going to get, and it's a huge global phenomenon. And I always remind people in this blockchain space in Web3, everybody out here is experimenting, everybody out here is dabbling. We don't know what's going on, we're trying things, and it's cool to see like the people with intention and solid mission around just helping humans in whatever capacity. So yeah, it's cool, from World of Warcraft to billions in a foundation. I love it. It's very cool.
I think his dad put him on a Bitcoin too. It wasn't just like a one to one, but his
Right.
grievances were answered, and now he's still
Yeah.
building solutions.
Yeah, no, I think it's super cool as a whole. I think my perspective after even just having our 3 podcast episodes together here is definitely been changed, which is really exciting because Swarthy Hatter kind of said it best. The only successful DAO is Ethereum. So kind of watching it from that perspective and lens for me will be exciting because I just kind of watched the movie in bits and pieces like over the span of a few days. So I'm excited to kind of give it that one go, all one, and kind of chop it up with you guys after and during in the chat, and yeah, dive into what is Ethereum. I feel like there's so many things that my questions can get answered when you just like peel back a lot of the stuff in crypto blockchain, just go back down to the like Ethereum layer and dive in there. So yeah, are you guys ready?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Sick.
Hey, W transition. I see you.
Sheesh.
Yeah, let me know if you guys can't hear it. You're on stage in 4 minutes.
Sure. Yo, dog, I got my tea, and I'm drinking my tea. You know why? Because I like tea. So did you know that the word for tea is some version of te or chai in pretty much every language in the world, with like fairly few exceptions? Well, tea originated in China, and the word spread from like 2 different regions. The Portuguese did kind of colonize the area, right? And like the reason why the Taiwan island.
I'm gonna just restart this just because I didn't realize it was fully at the bottom on the volume there.
I did hear him.
Oh,
He was
good.
about tea, but
Okay, my
I
bad.
did max out my volume.
Apologies.
I didn't know what he was saying. I
Yeah,
was looking for my headphones, like, dang. What?
You're on stage in 4 minutes.
yeah.
Sure.
My bad. Here we go. Try to.
We're rolling.
Yo, dog, I got my tea, and I'm drinking my tea. You know why? Because I like tea. So did you know that the word for tea is some version of te or chai in pretty much every language in the world, with like fairly few exceptions? Well, tea originated in China, and the word spread from like 2 different regions. The Portuguese did kind of colonize the area, right? And like the reason why the Taiwan island is called Formosa is because that's the Portuguese word for beautiful. Okay, thank you. But then why did Portugal get chai? Because when Portuguese came from Taiwan. Okay, yeah. See, I only remember 80% of the story, but it's fascinating. But anyway, why am I talking about this stuff? I should be drinking it.
How are you feeling about your speech?
I definitely can get really tired when there's a lot of them. And like yesterday, I literally delivered 6 speeches.
Vitalik Buterin is the blockchain movement's biggest celebrity.
He's become something like the philosopher king of crypto.
Vitalik Buterin.
Vitalik Buterin.
Vitalik Buterin.
Vitalik Buterin.
Ready for you now.
He's one of the most influential people in cryptocurrency and technology broadly defined.
He's the engineer widely recognized as the inventor of Ethereum.
Bitcoin can be digital money, but Ethereum can be digital infrastructure. It can be a binding structure of how people cooperate online.
Ethereum has the potential to disrupt the giants of the tech world by giving power to internet users rather than platforms.
Next up, I would like to invite Vitalik Buterin to the stage.
Ethereum has made Vitalik a billionaire, an iconic figurehead to a community of builders and developers from around the world.
So, Ethereum in 30 minutes.
He has massively moved forward history.
At a young age, he's thrust into the limelight as the face of the technology that may redefine all forms of digital transactions in the 21st century.
Whoa! Huge round of applause for Vitalik.
How are you feeling?
Excited to be speaking, I guess. I don't know. Am I excited to be speaking? Definitely nostalgic. It's like a mix of excitement and a feeling of like, oh God, why are people listening to me? I'm just a guy. I guess I started the Nomad thing in the middle of 2013. And I pretty much haven't stopped. Yeah, go to a place either because I've been invited by the global Ethereum community to, either visit them or go to some event or some purpose like that.
We have a room back here.
Oh, cool. So this is the bag. This is there's bags inside bags. This one has various bathroom supplies. This one, I should put this into this one. This has basically just like vitamins, and sometimes it has tea. Various snacks. Oh, this is a lovely Trader Joe's thing. It's a energy bar that's like actually reasonably healthy. It has what was it? 16 grams fat, which is mostly nuts, and then 14 grams carbohydrates, of which 7 is fiber. Oh, no, okay. A good find, and then obviously the 100% chocolate.
You don't have a home, right?
Right. Well, maybe I get my sense of home from like Reddit and Twitter and Telegram.
Hey. Where do you think I can find the Casper FFG testing language?
Wow.
Ethereum/Casper?
One of the reasons that I started working on Ethereum is that I'm very concerned about the trajectory of technology.
Oh, and this is a secret room inside the secret room.
Our lives are increasingly on the internet, and that can either be done through the rails of a few megacorps that control what we can do, Facebook, Google.
There's only a block built on here.
Then the way that these companies are abusing us is pretty messed up. Like, I'm now controlled by this slot machine in my pocket that like is constantly advertising to me and using like dopamine research to figure out how to get me to open it 10,000 times a day. I don't know how many times I open my phone a day. I don't think that we can stop technology from progressing. I do think that we have to change the trajectory. But with Ethereum, we can shake up the status quo and the equilibrium. Vitalik helped set the stage, and now there are hundreds of thousands of people across the world that are building things with Ethereum. This is a spectacular experiment. I'm either gonna work on this stuff or I'm gonna go live in the woods. Like, I don't think there's much in between for me.
You want to take a seat, Vitalik?
Sure. I'm just, turning my phone off so it doesn't beep and annoy you halfway through. How long were we expecting this to take, by the way? Just because the Ethereum people need me.
Come on your sticks, please. Copy you, coming down.
Coming down. Hello, camera. How are you?
Okay, we're set.
Yay.
So let's start from the beginning. Why did you invent Ethereum?
I came upon this interesting Bitcoin thing when I had been halfway through high school. It fascinated me immediately because of how it combines together all of these economic and political aspects. So I started trying my best to join the Bitcoin community. Yeah, so welcome to my humble abode, I suppose. Probably like around 3 or 4 square meters. The main advantage of the tent is that rent is $0 per month. This is what I sleep in because the temperature goes down to 8 degrees at night. Random food supplies, Bitcoin MIGs. Bitcoin is a unique technology. It has unique properties that no other system in the world has had before. And people who have been disenfranchised by the existing financial and banking system will have an alternative. We are seeing a massive resurgence of these idealist dreams in the cyberpunk sort of crypto-anarchist world in the 1990s. And these ideals of society and community, I feel it is through these kinds of technologies that we'll finally realize their benefits. We need to actually start building new communities together. We can have lots of different societies operating according to whatever people's own beliefs are. It really seems like the only practical way forward. And any kind of group that's trying to push those ideas forward in a voluntary way has my support. And I think we're going to see thousands and thousands of ideas. Of those, 990 times whatever are going to fail, but the rest of them are going to end up being the models of life in the 21st and 22nd century.
Awesome. Yeah,
You rock, man.
I definitely philosophically understood that there's something wrong with the way the internet works and with the way that a lot more things work. And I wanted to kind of get in and see if Bitcoin could be part of a path to make things better. I had already been doing the nomad thing for 6 months, and I continued my travels. And then I lived in this sort of anarchist cooperative close to Barcelona in this abandoned factory called Calafó. There was this self-sustaining community that emerged outside of existing de facto institutional structures. There were developers, there were anarchists. Definitely a good reflection of just like the kinds of really fascinating mindsets that were everywhere in crypto at the time. And they were using Bitcoin to live in a way that's like very outside and separate from society. Just seeing all of the people come together and collectively create a community. This helped me understand many aspects of how the world works.
What are your long-term goals or vision?
So I think I'm just going to continue working on many things at once, continue learning, see where it takes me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the same time, I saw plenty of other crypto users that just organize these like big, really expensive parties. They just have a mission of making lots of money, and for them that's like more important than everything else. But I was convinced that this is a really powerful technology. Eventually, I started realizing more and more that, like, hey, these are ideas that can be applied to more places than just a currency. And that's the idea that turned into Ethereum. It's so beautiful. They're just micro animals. See, they're harmless. Okay, that's probably the bravest I've been around bugs in years. When I first came up with the idea for Ethereum back in 2013, I went on this walk and I was looking at the natural environment. Nature is lovely, it makes all of these structures like literally out of thin air. More than 99.9% of the mass of any one of these plants or trees comes from air and water. It's 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O equals 6O2 plus C6H12O6. And then from sugar comes everything else. Photosynthesis, the reverse of the human breathing equation. Once you understand a bit of chemistry, it seems obvious, but the fact that there are just like plants, and all plants are just like made of air and water, and out of that you just create these really big and really sturdy things, and to me that just feels profound. If we build an environment like this, then naturally good things just will grow over time. We can use cryptography and this big global network of computers to build a platform, and then people can just come and build things on top. Ethereum could be this invisible infrastructure layer where everyone can just interact with everyone else directly through a network. And it would make it much more possible to live a life completely without interfacing with banks or big evil corporations. It could be used to build this new internet.
Para mí, Ethereum es libertad. Gente disruptiva haciendo cosas para simplemente romper el molde que ya está en el mundo, que la gente dice ya todo está creado, no podemos hacer más nada. Y la comunidad de Ethereum dice, así, mírame.
I've seen banks shut down or take over people's money. For me as an engineer, being programmable money meant being able to build things.
I wake up thinking about what I can do, what I can build, what I can learn, I've never had a structure of how I will sell my work. Artists that haven't been recognized enough are now getting an opportunity.
This radically expands the amount of trust that people can have in working with each other across borders, across faiths, across languages. It represents this next evolution of coordination for humanity.
Wait, so what is Ethereum?
Like that's you mean like as a very personal question, like what? Yeah. I mean, to me, Ethereum has become my life. It's what I do day in and day out, and it's a very meaningful project that I think will completely transform society. The dream of the internet was to connect everyone without borders or mediation. But the complexity of what we do now online has made us reliant on middlemen, especially giant corporations and governments. But it doesn't have to be like this. Think, for example, of a marketplace like eBay, Uber, Airbnb. At the end of the day, it's just an individual providing another service to another individual. Why do we have this company in between? Well, this company provides various trusted services. It mediates payments. It handles identity and reputation, reviews, insurance. But what if we can rebuild all these services as applications on Ethereum? We're building infrastructure that the whole world can enjoy. And on top of these really strong foundations, we can build this infinite garden. It's a blank canvas, which is permissionless. Anyone can come in. And this is where a lot of the power comes from. All sorts of things could change. It might mean facilitating identity for people who want to vote, for example. It might mean instead of having physical passports, you can have your passport as an NFT on your phone. It could lead to all sorts of mini revolutions in society. It probably is, to a large extent idealistic, but I think this will become much, much more mainstream with the creation of totally new products that were almost impossible to imagine before the existence of this new superpower, which is Ethereum. So you can have this intuition, this gut feel that this is really world-changing, and yet not know exactly how this infinite garden is going to grow and evolve.
I just noticed it after I made the previous move. I'm like, oh, wow.
Okay.
Vitalik has a mind, that still to this day it's curious about how things work.
Кого фотографировать?
Ну, кто там виден, того фотографирует.
Нам виден того
Кто там видел?
Виталика и маму фотографируют.
Фотографируют.
Ну что, читать-то будем?
Давай.
Ну давай читаем.
В одной капле воды.
Так. Vitalik was born in '94 in Russia. And that was actually a very scary time for the country. The Soviet Union was an attempt to create a very artificial, centralized structure. You were just a helpless pawn, and the government plans and controls everything. And then this whole paradigm falls apart, And you're left with realizing that nobody cares about you, nobody will take care of you, and you have no clue what to do.
All the savings of my parents that they saved throughout their life, over the night just became worthless, and you could buy a loaf of bread on it. It was actually really tragic for the country. When you're in this environment for some time, you kind of start reflecting on, what do you want for yourself, and what do you want for your child?
And when Putin came into power, there was a big question mark for many people, like, oh yeah, so this, KGB guy, what is going to happen under him? It was clear that we had to leave Russia. When Vitalik was 6, we decided to go to Canada. And, as you can imagine, for a child to move to another country was a big shift. We gave him this old IBM PC, and he really took to that. That was his favorite toy. And the anchor, for a child, okay, here's this anchor that's something familiar to me in this, new place. You just kind of explore that, a bunch of things, from paintbrush, this and that, but he really loved Excel. And then when he was about 7, he created Encyclopedia of Bunnies. It's an encyclopedia about this fictitious universe which is populated by bunnies with lots and lots of detail of how they talk, the math, their banking system. How can bunnies pass the speed of light? They have 16,438.79 grams of magic sugar. Magic sugar is sugar that contains 70% magic, 15% rocks, 9% metal, 4% paper, 1.7% wood, 0.25% leaves. Let me check if the math checks out. So 85, 94, 98, yeah, checks out. So you can see how fascinated he was with numbers and how easy it was for him to process all of that stuff. It's an amazing creation for a 7-year-old child, and also an amazing reflection of his mind. Growing up, you can see that he's a very unique child. But for many years, he was not speaking. His mind was racing so quickly. As he would start to speak, his mind was already ahead of that, and he would kind of stumble. Being a parent, trying to figure out, is this okay? Should I do something about this? Is this a problem? But things progress at their own pace.
Sure.
Yes.
Start in 5-6 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll just wait here then. Okay.
When Ethereum started, he was not looking to be leader of anything, if you will. For him, it was more like, hey, I came up with this cool idea, let me write about this, and then maybe some important, smart people will do something about that. But then things change, and people, they immediately recognize his sincerity. And lots of people got interested, and they basically then told him, Vitalik, you should move forward with this. And people were pushing him into this position of leadership. It was not something that came naturally, that was outside of his comfort zone. That's still one of the most challenging things for him.
Wah, 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 wah.
Okay, great. So today I am going to be talking about rabbits. No, rabbits are outside of crypto, but I'm going to be talking about other things that are outside of crypto and rabbits.
So of all the different voices in the space, you've kind of chosen to focus on Vitalik's writing. Why Vitalik?
Vitalik was the person who first got me interested in this to begin with. It was his white paper that, I first kind of geeked out on. In many respects, he fits this almost too perfectly, this mythology that our society has of a tech founder, this kind of worship of youth, this obsession with a kind of innocence and yet power. But at the same time, I always remember that he is, above all, a writer and a thinker, asking these questions that we really need to be exploring. In 2011 and 2012, I'd seen protests around the world, people seeking a deeper kind of democracy in the streets, in occupied spaces, responding to that financial crisis of 2008. My understanding of what had gone most profoundly wrong in the financial crisis was a lack of democracy. That there was not real accountability because our system had become so controlled by corporate power. January 2014, the Ethereum white paper came out. And as Vitalik described what Ethereum could enable, it made me wonder, could that work of renewing democracy, of advancing it, move from the streets into this kind of digital space? And it attracted the kinds of people who are able to imagine a radically different future than what the present presents itself as. It started to spread.
So when I wrote the first draft of the white paper, I sent it to about 15 people. I started getting these replies back from people I had never heard of. Like, hey, this is a cool project. I would love to be a developer for it.
Ethereum opened the door for systems that could be much more closely governed and monitored and attuned to the people using it. We cannot assume, however, that it will just take care of itself, that the technology has enough decentralization or whatever your favorite buzzword is to make sure that the good things come out. We need to be involved.
So this, for example, is simple code.
The next step was welcoming the first 10 people who replied back saying they want to help into the team and making 5 of them the leadership.
Was that a good idea?
No. No, and this was, of course, proved to be a big mistake.
What was your instinct to make these people co-founders?
They just seemed like nice guys and they wanted to help. So why not just make them part of the leadership? I expected people to just come in, be aligned with the vision, understand why this thing is so valuable, and just kind of selflessly help to move the project forward. But this did not happen, and conflict between people ended up being one of the biggest problems.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of tension between many different people. One of the debates that was constantly happening as to whether or not we're going the for-profit or the non-profit route. On one side, you had people that wanted to turn this into the crypto Google. And on the other side, you had part of the group that wanted to turn Ethereum into a nonprofit.
I was kind of temporarily convinced that the more corporate approach, the whole thing just never sat well with me. It felt dirty even that we would take money that was intended to build this very public thing that would go into a corporation where that corporation had shareholders and would exist for the benefit of shareholders. But then people started pushing it more and more over time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay. We're about 6 or 7 weeks away from launch. The issues that still remain are probably much more on the organizational side for us. So So we're planning on having a meeting where everyone from leadership is going to be there. If I have to bump up against people, I will.
There it is, the spaceship.
This was the origin location and the headquarters for Ethereum. But it was definitely a battle also of principles, ideologies, and interests. You know, every person is motivated by different things. And, you know, the hardest part of building something like Ethereum was having people getting along.
Hey there.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, the Wi-Fi here is just crazy.
Okay, go really slowly. I want to know all the details.
You know, initially my thought process was, I was going here to vote on the new business structure. But then I find out that basically half of the organization had been in discussions to completely rebuild and reform the project into functionally a not-for-profit. They want a horizontal power structure, so they basically want the fucking janitor to be at the same level as the person at the top. It's just batshit crazy out here. You know, we're all equal. We're all going to be this new age open source project. It's like I've walked into a goddamn hippie commune.
I was basically trying to abdicate responsibility the whole time because I didn't really want it. I ended up needing to remove people.
That was definitely the moment when I did realize that, like, hey, not everyone in the crypto space is in it for the ideals the same way that I am, and a lot of people really do just want to make lots of money. I definitely had a rude awakening in the reality of difficult human relations. Here is where Ethereum comes in. A lot of startups, I think, if you put them in these kinds of situations, they do just like break apart and people give up and and things stop happening. And so, we did end up going the nonprofit path, and I think going the nonprofit path did end up being to everyone's benefit.
And how long have you been working on Ethereum?
Me personally, about 4 months. I think the original white paper was authored about 5 months ago.
What are your immediate plans?
We want to demonstrate that it works. So we have a proof of concept that we want to release quite soon, version 1.0, and show people what it really is capable with this technology.
Whatever the drama the developers kept developing, after 20 months of Ethereum just being an idea, we agreed on the launch date. We were watching the countdown for the block number when the launch of the network would trigger. And everyone was kind of anxiously, eagerly waiting for the launch of the chain. Then, about a few seconds later, we got the confirmation. Yes, the chain exists, and yes, the chain is growing. Finally, we can breathe easy. Ethereum actually exists now. There is no off switch. You've created life. Thanks to the power of modern communication, we have the ability to create technologies that are decentralized, removing middlemen and allowing users to interact with each other directly through a global network. Now the question is, what will you build on top of Ethereum?
We're at the Ethereum Developer Conference, and they're saying this is the way the internet was meant to be, something that's not run by anybody, but actually is sort of run by everybody because no one person can control it.
Our mission is to create the blockchain applications of the future, and that's where you guys come in.
It's a community that's just really cool to be a part of.
Not taking yourself too seriously, being able to be casual and relaxed, but also really nerding out over the details.
how we can use this technology to deploy democracies anywhere in the world that can be censorship resistant, not be controlled by any nation state or corporation.
Thank you to everyone for coming.
Vitalik has been on a global campaign to raise awareness of his creation and its potential implications for business, finance, and government.
Learn everything you can about Ethereum because it really is very much the future.
Some big investors saying, fine, I was a skeptic, I've changed my mind. Square, PayPal getting involved.
I created a project called Uniswap. It's a decentralized exchange protocol built on top of Ethereum.
We should expect to see a whole range of societal functions moving into this kind of decentralized technology.
Now to the latest trend that's sweeping the internet, digital art sold as NFTs.
NFTs are a new business case for artists to be able to monetize their work.
Ethereum has really caught on. It's a $370 billion industry being built by a bunch of internet kids in unicorn t-shirts.
The epic rise is insane.
Cryptocurrency is having a notable impact on the world's financial markets, but it's also affecting the environment.
People are just starting to talk about this and recognize the sustainability questions, particularly as Ether, environmentally incredibly costly.
The way that Ethereum verifies transactions, you've got these computers running an algorithm in order to solve equations. It's using all of these energy inputs. And of course, that massive energy consumption has been a huge critique.
If you believe that blockchains are going to grow by 100x, this becomes unsustainable. We can't have Ethereum consume half the world's electricity consumption.
Xiao is asking if she should just order food, or we should just order food.
Do we not have enough to make stuff? Or
We don't have eggs.
Safeway is like literally 500 meters away.
That's true.
Yeah, I am happy to like literally go on a Safeway run myself if people want. Okay,
We can do that.
okay, I'm gonna do that.
Good luck.
Okay, see you soon.
Okay. Seems like it's egg day again.
Wow.
Okay. Maximum speed.
Okay, doke.
Let's start?
Okay, let's start.
Okay, let's do it. Over to. Yes. Okay, let's break some eggs. Free-ranged eggs. No added hormones, no antibiotics.
Where does it say we love our hens, you'll love our eggs? Aw.
I don't believe a word.
Me neither. Sounds like creepy Brave New World stuff, doesn't it? Let's see, how do we do this well? My usual algorithm would be to... Okay, that was a bad idea.
That's nice. Okay, let's have food, guys.
If we don't finish everything before the call starts, then Ethereum has failed.
We're trying to upgrade Ethereum because there's a fundamental problem. The higher the price goes up, the more energy consumption will show up. Currently, Ethereum uses something like the energy consumption of Argentina.
It's important that Ethereum doesn't cause the planet to keep warming up increasingly quickly. And so we've been really intent on coming up with a solution. This is a really big and important set of upgrades that really fundamentally improves what Ethereum can do.
This upgrade is all about changing the foundations. A good analogy would be swapping the engine of a gasoline car with an electric car. We're effectively changing the engine while we're driving, which is kind of crazy.
It's probably the most complex, distributed software upgrade that's ever happened.
There's $500 billion of value locked on Ethereum. The chain goes down, you could have some serious issues.
0 to 2.67 is going to be the time for the proposer to publish, right? Then 2.67 is the cutoff for everyone to attest. So either they attest to the proposal or they attest to the idea of there being emptiness.
It's very important that this goes off well, but there's a lot of different kind of mechanics at play. You know, there's researchers, there's community members that are outspoken, and there's a lot of developers, right? There's a multitude of voices, and it is a messy process.
The way that blockchains upgrade themselves is through a process called social consensus. What does that mean? It means that all the users around it, all the whole ecosystem, everyone kind of come to rough consensus that an upgrade needs to be done. This is why a lot of the difficulty is all around coordination.
When people think of like a leader of a project, or traditionally, I think they think of them exercising a lot of formal power, like the way Mark Zuckerberg exercises a lot of formal power over Facebook. But the Ethereum ecosystem just does not work that way at all. Like ultimately, I do not own and I do not control Ethereum.
Is it possible that the cross-domain MEV could be a good thing for Ethereum?
We say Ethereum is committed to decentralization. So of course it's chaotic, of course it's not easy to coordinate, but we want to let things happen as organically as possible because we want this to be a community project that's open source. This is the most important, unique part of Ethereum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You don't see this big tree in Singapore.
No, we do not. The log, it's
yeah.
very logarithmic. Just imagining, like, if you can climb up them, and then you just kind of sit there, like, 60 meters above ground. Well, I hope that both we and the trees live as long as the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want Ethereum to live longer than us, though.
This is true. The growth being so quick has definitely been very surprising. Well, the growth of crypto in general being so quick is definitely something very surprising. Like the number of people who know about it, how much people care about it, the number of projects that are happening, the amount of media attention. And at the beginning, kind of these jumps didn't really feel like as much, but then the growth with NFTs feels like it's just gotten catapulted into something much bigger than most of us could have imagined.
NFTs are booming. It's a $10 billion business. That's a 2,000% increase, by the way, just this year.
I like those apes. What are they? They're angry apes? What kind of apes were they? Bored apes. Bored apes.
I bought an ape.
I got an ape, too.
Is it about more than just making money?
I'd say it's 50-50 on that. It's fun to make money.
Ethereum prices are going big.
It's being driven in large part by a whole new cast of cartoon characters. CryptoPunks are the most expensive. Catching up fast are the pudgy penguins. They're up more than 7,000%.
This is one of the largest speculative bubbles I've seen in my career.
I don't understand why people are paying $10, $20 million for digital pictures of fat penguins and bored apes. What exactly is happening here?
The difference between crypto and a lot of pre-crypto things with similar value to crypto basically is the money aspect. And this is a double-edged sword, right? The good edge of the sword is that it provides funding to things that did not have funding before, right? Like a lot of the things that are being developed by crypto projects are fundamentally public goods, which don't really give anyone a profit. But with the crypto ecosystem, there now is an incentive to develop these things. But then The negative risk is basically that people see the opportunity to use Ethereum as a platform to just make money by speculating. If that kind of activity starts to dominate, then the risk is that the equilibrium flips. Like, people will start to see that, oh, this is what the ecosystem is about. And so, you know, there is this balance. Like, you know, financial incentive is, you know, it's like a fire. Like, you know, you can use it to keep yourself warm, or you can use it to burn your house down.
Welcome to Bankless, where we explore the frontier of internet money and internet finance. Guys, we have a fantastic episode. And who's the guest? Vitalik Buterin. Vitalik, it's great to see you again. How are you doing?
Just yesterday, I found out about this NFT project that's called WeirdVitalik.com. It's a collection of 10,000 randomly generated bored Vitalik Buterin NFTs. This was just totally done without my permission, and it's very not in line with my own values. It is basically a money grab. I've had like multiple interviews, podcasts, like everywhere, criticizing this idea of, you know, hey, we're just going to use Ethereum in order to make $3 million monkeys. The challenge here is, how can we kind of very strongly signal to the community that, like, this sort of stuff, like, if you're into this sort of stuff, you know, you're not really part of like the kind of community that that we want to see.
The Ethereum ecosystem is growing. Like, we see new people coming in. It is very, very important for us to stick to the original vision. But that is not easy, because the whole structure of the society is built in a way that making the most profit is the goal.
Without further ado, let's welcome Vitalik Buterin. The cryptocurrency ecosystem is around for a little over a decade. How do you see this moving forward?
What I would want to see is, can we make changes toward a better system? A lot of things are open and undecided, but if the only thing that gets developed on blockchains is just the ability for people to essentially gamble with tokens with each other, okay, fine, then that ends up not being something that's very valuable. And that just ends up being a really huge missed opportunity.
Speeds. This is Tim O'Reilly's interview. Take one, marker.
For the last 40 plus years, I've seen a lot of technology change, and if funding races ahead of achievement, then you have a real problem. When the crypto boom started happening, I said, this is as if the dot-com bubble had happened in the 1980s on the original internet technology before the World Wide Web had been invented.
Imagine, if you will, sitting down to your morning coffee, turning on your home computer to read the day's newspaper. Well, it's not as far-fetched as it may seem. In fact,
realistically, what we want with new technologies, new decentralization, is lots and lots of experimentation until you see what works.
This is an experiment. We're trying to figure out what it's going to mean to us as editors and reporters, and what it means to the home user.
People are trying things and failing and trying something else, and new people are coming in trying that. And that's what decentralization is about. It's like that innovation till you find the thing that scales up and becomes the new normal. But when too much capital floods in, it really wrecks things. Technologies, very rarely stay the same as they are envisioned by their creators.
Ethereum is very much a tool for innovation, but amongst the good actors and those contributing to the code development, you also have bad actors who are looking at the code specifically to identify vulnerabilities so that they can exploit those vulnerabilities to hack and steal funds.
Illicit actors using virtual currency are able to send virtual currency cross-border rapidly without any of the normal controls that might be in place with a more traditional financial system. There's an understanding within the FBI that the virtual currency space is growing, it's growing rapidly, and we need to address those threats. These are not small in terms of numbers, and I fear it's only going to get bigger.
This past year was the largest year of hacked funds and stolen funds. And the largest hacks were perpetrated by North Korea.
You have a country that has taken its intelligence services and decided to have them steal funds.
They have a very sophisticated laundering technique. This is an image of over 15,000 discrete wallets that have been used to launder funds. So far in 2022, they've stolen $1.7 billion in cryptocurrency. This is money that they can use to directly fund their missiles program. And so the impact is massive from a national security perspective.
So, as the creator of this technology, do you feel responsible when it's used in this way?
Responsibility definitely exists, and that's important to think about. Though, technology is being the idea that technology is worth building, even if there are things that are that are far off that can't be predicted, I think is also really important. So, I think it's important to balance between the two. I think a lot of downstream consequences of technology just are really hard to predict. Right, do you hold Albert Einstein responsible for, nuclear weapons? I would say no. Ultimately, he invented an amazing piece of physics, and it just has all sorts of applications. A lot of people really are putting a lot of hope into the crypto space to actually walk the walk in terms of changing the world. At some point, we have to actually do that.
It has happened. This is Ukraine's capital. What seemed unthinkable in the 21st century is now underway.
Ukrainians woke up to find themselves plunged into the midst of war. Explosions and air raid sirens ringing out here in Kyiv and cities across this country.
Ukraine is under cyber attack, and among the reported victims are banks and government websites. This is part of a Russian plan to paralyze the Ukrainian government.
Response time is crucial. With their banking system, it is impossible to finance important things for the army.
I want to help to defend Ukraine from this attack with crypto by selling an NFT of a Ukrainian flag, and we are using Ethereum to transfer the funds urgently to charities in Ukraine that are helping Ukraine defend itself right now. When this ends, I just want my family to be alive. That's literally the only reason why I'm doing this. And then, sorry, I'm just, as we speak, I'm seeing this, you know. I have no words for this. It's just an unspeakable violence.
When the war started, I had an immediate realization that if I don't use my voice and do something here, then like, why would I do that for pretty much anything else? I did not want to give people the impression that like they easily could have gotten if I said nothing, that I quietly support what's going on.
The Russian government's hope is that Vitalik's technology can be as transformative for their own finances as it has been for his.
Обсудили, а что нужно сделать еще, что нужно сделать дополнительно для того, чтобы обеспечить и вашу работу, чтобы она была эффективной, прибыльной, и чтобы это способствовало развитию российской экономики.
I should have handled my Russia trip better, and I should have taken more of an effort to avoid the government groups. This is definitely one of my biggest regrets. There are some things that are worth making a stance over.
Massive donations are pouring into Ukraine in the form of crypto. This is huge for the Ukrainian government because it's nearly instantly available. It's a lot harder in the midst of a war to be able to acquire, dollars or any other currencies.
І здивовані, що ви так щедро нам допомагаєте.
Food, lighters, 24 power banks, medicine. Thank you guys and greetings from Bakhmut, from Pani Elena and her...
Алло. Да, пап.
Я плачу с радости. Высокоточное оружие, полное оружие доїхало до Харкова. Стінгери, все доїхало. Доця, ми...
Ура!
Слава Богу, доця. Давай, це сльози радості.
Да,
я
да.
вибачаюсь.
Нічого.
Спасибо тобі. Спасибо тобі велике.
That should be. I guess there are different categories for these risks. So like
this at the protocol level.
This is the time where all of these things that we're building, you're just very quickly moving from theory to practice. This big upgrade has definitely been something that we're stressed about.
The question now is like, what are the biggest risks right now? Like, what are the biggest risks as we approach this thing? And like, are there things that we're not doing or others are not doing that we should be?
The adversary that trying to keep in mind here is the most well-equipped adversary that exists. There's large governments right now in the East and in the West have entire payrolls of hackers. Like, how do we harden against that?
Client teams have mentioned that like they do feel pretty stressed and urgent, and I think there is a fine balance between having a sense of urgency but just having people be so under pressure. There is a point where too much pressure just pushes teams to burn out.
There is a large technical upgrade coming for Ethereum, which will hopefully make the network less energy intensive, but it's been delayed multiple times, and it's a very troubled process at the moment.
Привет, Зая.
Привет, пап, как дела?
Отлично, как у тебя? Ты где еще, в Сан-Франциско?
Нет, я пока тут в Денвере.
В Денвере, круто, круто. Как вообще с этим самым, с Proof of Stake, вроде все идет по плану?
Пока вот прошлые 4 дня в основном об этом всем и думаю.
Ну да, я тоже и знаешь, много эмоций прошло. Как твои-то собственные эмоции? Потому что я, знаешь, и слезы тут текут, и злость какая-то, и беспомощность.
Ну да, ну то и то. И еще там понимание, что у меня там какая-то сила иметь импакт в какой-то ситуации есть.
100%.
И хочется так огромной ответственности ее правильно использовать.
Да, и вот твоя сила, она в том числе, знаешь, что вот в такой ситуации люди все вокруг смотрят, так, а кому же верить, кто наш флагман такой, да, и вот...
Да.
The International Monetary Fund says the war could have a severe impact on the global economy. It expects to cut its growth forecasts globally.
What goes up must come down. Crypto's market value has halved, hemorrhaging an eye-watering $2.2 trillion.
What we've seen in the last few months is this perfect storm of black swan events. The price of cryptocurrencies has plummeted.
With crypto crashing, if you own a non-fungible token or NFT, you are so funged. Because evidently, celebrity-endorsed NFTs are leaving investors financially crippled.
This bear market, or as it's known to people within the industry, crypto winter, is slightly different to those that have come before.
I think we can acknowledge that these ideas have failed.
It's hard to justify what the hell we're doing here, man.
It is probably not as revolutionary as it's being made out to seem.
I think well, if the space ends up basically failing from here, then obviously its biggest impact will have just been what it's done so far and its contribution to this kind of chain of stuff investing into stuff, where the stuff at the end was just making these crazy bets that look very intelligent in bull markets, but then in bear markets, one thing loses everything, and that makes another thing lose everything, and then there's a shorting cascade, and more people lose everything. So trying to really get beyond that,
You feel like this is like the coldest it gets?
I don't know yet. Sometimes I feel like there hasn't been enough despair yet, but I don't know.
Like it needs to hit rock bottom?
Yeah.
I don't really know where all this is going. I do know that if this is a truly valuable technology, the best thing that could happen to it right now is what is happening, which is this collapse of the speculative economy, so that you can see what's left, you can see what really matters.
We are going to Ukraine for the Kyiv Tech Summit. It's something that's important to me personally. You know, you could say that a big part of any person's actions is their search for meaning.
Фанерой позабивали вот окна. Вот справа крыша, вверху.
Да, вижу. Это здание какое? Что внутри?
Офисы.
Понял.
Офисное здание.
Wow. Huh.
That's a bomb shelter, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a bomb shelter, okay.
Hello, everyone. Give some claps. So, yeah. One and only, no need for introductions. It's an honor to have Vitalik with us today. It means a lot for Ukraine, for all of us.
May I shake your hand?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you.
I really admire you for taking a stance with Ukraine. Just want to say thank you. And I just applause for that.
I mean, I was just very impressed by the fact that, you would even be willing to just go and host a tech summit in the middle of a war. So I wanted to come and support you.
Very proud and excited to welcome Vitalik to the stage.
I think this moment has definitely shown that crypto actually can have some real impacts on the world. So far, they've raised a total of more than 130 million at this point, which is amazing. So I think it's important for our industry to have these kind of down-to-earth moments of remembering that there are very real and important things that the technology is doing. Bubbles pop, but sustainable long-term utility is something that can last forever.
Cryptocurrencies have become a way for people in Argentina to protect themselves from endless economic crises.
We all know in the crypto industry that Argentina loves crypto.
You experience this level of rockstar anywhere else?
No.
No?
The number of people here, the number of projects here, the excitement of the people here is definitely amazing. The fact that decentralized social is finally taking off is amazing. And the fact that we have like Farcaster and Lens, also things like ZooPass, the sign-in with Ethereum is kind of expanding. It really is turning into something that's a much stronger ecosystem that was available even 1 or 2 years ago. So I think that's really amazing too.
How excited are you, Vitalik? I mean, you've got to be ecstatic at this point in time, right?
Yeah, no, I am absolutely excited. I mean, there is always the probability every day of some horrible break happening. The worst case scenario would be someone intentionally causing some horrible bug. If they wanted to be mean, they would do it at 4 a.m. Euro time.
If there was ever an incentive to spend the effort, like if you were a large nation state, to attack something like this would be probably the one you'd go for. Because there's no reason, say you don't really have haters until you make it, ETH has made it, right? So it's, yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
We want to see some of these really positive indicators, and then once we see finalization, we can take a deep breath, breathe easy, then we'll be monitoring, obviously, for the next couple hours, for the next couple weeks, and honestly, we're monitoring all the time. So I think we're about 2 minutes till, so I will turn it back over to y'all.
Once we get this nailed down and get a few more updates in the future, the protocol is going to be incredibly robust, and I think it will last, hopefully the rise and fall of empires, and it will still be around.
There it is. Cheers, everyone.
This will reduce worldwide electricity consumption by 0.2%. Which like sounds tiny, but when you consider that's electricity consumption for all of humanity, that's like a pretty mind-blowing number. The merge happened on 15 September, 7 hours, 39 minutes ago. There's a panda on Google, that's amazing. Click. Ding. Doo, it's a panda. Yeah. Top stories. Ethereum bringt die Merge hinter sich. This is fun, we get some German media. Cryptocurrency Ether reduces energy usage by 99.95%, that's nice. Okay, Business Insider. Oh God, Business Insider does not seem to care a huge amount about electricity or the environment, it just cares about the price. I guess Germans care about either the green or the green, so. Ethereum completed its much anticipated shift to a more energy efficient architecture. Okay, see, New York Times cares about the environment. This is going as well as it could so far, said Danny Ryan. The technical details of the merge are mind-bendingly complex. Oh, panda balloon! Come on, do something.
I think we've accomplished something quite large in like a very non-traditional context. Ethereum's not done, but this certainly represents its ability to get some like pretty major stuff done. So certainly optimistic about the next few years and continuing to get Ethereum where it needs to be. I think anyone who thinks that they understand exactly where it's all going is either lying to you or lying to themselves.
So, with everything that happened in the last year, I've realized at some point that like I have to make sure that things go in as positive a direction as possible. But my biggest fear is a bull market. If a bull market happens, then like all of that speculation obviously just like comes back. There is value in being quiet, and like there is value in not being loud until you have something that's worth being loud about. The basic idea is that we're bringing 200 people together from the Ethereum community and philosophers and people from a few other areas, and basically just getting them to live together for 2 months and try to solve problems that matter for people and Ethereum itself. Let's like let the crypto anarchists and the geeks like put in the effort at like making this stuff work, and like maybe within a couple of years we'll like get a kind of legit product that larger groups will care about. I do what I can to make sure the thing happens, but hopefully it becomes something that doesn't need me to be around forever. I'm I don't know, instigator maybe? I mean, I feel like the last year has been a new chapter for me in a bunch of ways. But I'm definitely feeling more optimistic than I did a few months ago. We know what the roadmap is. Let's, keep calm and keep building.
Okay, Mateo, so what do we think? I feel like I learned a lot. Even just watching it through the second time.
Yeah, facts. For sure.
So-
knows how to make money. I'm crying. Go ahead, Z.
Yeah, I was gonna answer Rek Moski's question. We're watching Vitalik and Ethereum story about the founder of Ethereum. And one of the things that was pretty cool this time around was in some of the pictures or photos, I actually recognized some of the other people that were in Vitalik, which was kind of cool to see. Where I was like, oh, hey, I've heard of this person, or I've seen them here or there giving a speech or this or that, which is pretty cool.
No, I agree with that. I never watched this, but I saw like the person who organized the pop-up city I went to in Thailand, where I met Vitalik. I saw her in there sitting with him. I saw this guy Pablo, and his brother's working on CAP, which is like stable coin infrastructure thing. I don't know, but they're in New York, and it's just like it's cool to see people that I've met that I didn't anticipate seeing. I think I saw somebody that I met at ETH Denver too in there, which was pretty cool. And I was like, oh, I don't know, I don't remember your name, but your face is stuck in my brain. But I think it's pretty sick. I like some of the visuals they're using in there. I was enjoying that. I'm curious, like we got to see the encyclopedia of bunnies, and like we got to hear about the math and the magic, sugar and stuff. I was kind of curious to hear about the economics of that society. Like, what was his economic comprehension? They're telling us about like his magic sugar developments. I'm like, okay, I want to be more impressed. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing. You know, it's insane. I think just like him calling himself an instigator, right? Like this thing, like you said, like Swarthy said, right? It's the best example of a DAO, the only example of a DAO we have, right? And the whole goal is for it to, they say, right, exceed empires. Like, you know, empires rise and fall, and this thing is still here, which means that we're so early. Because like the 10th birthday was this year, right? So that's crazy.
That's true. That's true. What about you, B? Second perspective.
It was solid. It was solid. I was kind of glad because, you know, sometimes when I watch a movie back through, it's like, oh dang, I didn't see that part. So I must have been locked in the first time because I was like, yeah, I didn't, you know. But I think it was a documentary on something that I really have been like talking about and just kind of been immersed in for so long. It was just like, okay, cool. You know, there's some bits and pieces, but nothing really like crazy the second time around. It was cool watching with chat though. Shout out to y'all. Had some amazing questions and everything. So yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I just don't know where it's gonna go either, man. I don't know where it's gonna go. I think we're gonna have. I really think, you know, whatever comes next, as far as whatever kind of like bull run height or something, you know, this ebb and flow of this next market, whatever that looks like, it's like it's gonna make everything that came before it look like nothing. It's like we got mobile first, you know, security is a little bit better. We've got, you know, more people involved in it overall. I feel like this whole stable coin cycle is all like kind of just coming back around again. It's like it's just kind of weird. It's like how cyclical all this is, but it's just like exponentially bigger every time. So, you know, we haven't really touched on like real world assets as a space. People are still kind of just wrapping their heads around what we can do with this tech, which is kind of cool.
I didn't know he spoke German. So it was cool seeing him just straight translate it for us. So like, oh, they're saying this, they're saying that. I'm like, oh, News to me.
Okay.
I'm curious,
Yeah,
like,
Rakhmowski.
how do you guys think about like how you're positioning yourselves as people in this ecosystem? Like right now, right, we're in this bear market, we're in the stablecoin market, we're in like the institutional era of Ethereum, of crypto, right, at scale. Like,
Yeah.
you think about what you're up to?
No, that's a great question. I think it's not even just like about ETH as a whole, but it's more like decentralization as a concept and educating and knowledge and sharing knowledge about that, whether that's directly just teaching what decentralization means and what the power in that is, or actively building tools within that. I think that's the best thing that can be done because it's a lot bigger than just Ethereum now too, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just so interesting seeing the whole ecosystem, on the fungible side growing to like almost 50 million coins, but it's still, number one coin, Bitcoin, still 60% of the whole total value of the crypto markets, and ETH another 10 after that, 10, 11 after that. It's like it's just interesting to see. It's just interesting to see because to me, that's like a marker. This is super early, or everybody's just experimenting, like to the tune of 50 million different coins. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge group of experimentation. So I don't know. It's also like it's kind of interesting because a lot of like my favorite apps, my favorite platforms, different things like that, my favorite experiments have been pretty centralized and able to just like sunset and go away, and that's it. It dies. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting to see. I don't know. It's interesting to see this ecosystem move, man.
Yeah, well said there at the end there. Most of the things that are out there end up just sunsetting, and kind of anyone who had put any of their hopes in continuing to use that platform, and whether it be as a consumer or as a purchaser, or I guess it's the same person, but anyone who wanted to use that platform kind of is left out in the dust. And I think there is power in some of the platforms that are out there that have been created in some capacity to be open sourced, and meaning that anyone can build on top of it after the first group of people who built it no longer want to work on that project, or there's a reason for them stopping working on that project. The project can kind of continue.
Yeah, for sure. I think the most valuable pieces like in, tech, in emerging tech and Web3, even in like the AI side, is just kind of still the network connections. It's still all about the network, all about you learning and growing and just putting yourself in rooms where people are having like-minded missions, like-minded ideas, and trying to build, man, build and grow. Because I think at the end of the day, when some of these platforms go away or whatever, if you're home run meme coin that you thought was going to 100x goes to zero, whatever, hopefully we still have those, just the network effects. And I think that's kind of like, and going back to like what Swarthy was saying, how Ethereum is pretty much the only DAO. It's like that whole core ecosystem is the network effect, I don't know. We're all just experimenting, man. I love it.
Hell yeah. Any last thoughts there, Maseo?
Yeah, I wish I watched this sooner. Honestly, like I feel like it gave me like a more of a window into this guy and like his life for sure. Like how he's 6 years older than me, right? And like 5 years older than me. Thinking about like where he's at and like what the last 6 years of his life must have been like. Like I can't really even imagine, right? But I think it was sick seeing him. Like if I met him, when I meet him again, I'll be curious to ask him about like his time in anarchist community outside Spain. Like that sounds sick, right? And it sounds like that had to have been a formative kind of experience, right, at the beginning of his kind of nomadic journey or something like that. Maybe it was 6 months in. But I'm really curious to hear about how he sees like actually how traveling the world has changed his perspective about things, right? Because obviously the 7-year-old writing universe like encyclopedias about bunnies didn't have the same grasp of the world that he does now. So I'd be really curious to see like what's shifted in his global perspective, and that maybe we haven't seen in his writing. That's kind of what I'm left with. I got better questions for next time I see Vitalik.
I love it. We got the chat
That's
going
awesome.
off. Got Candy cooking, I see through cooking, Rec cooking, everyone chatting. Lots of good ideas. Candy said, I think we're still at a stage where people don't realize how they're affected by centralization, and it takes that hitting you in the face before you realize it.
You guys see, I saw something on Instagram today about how Iran could turn off the global internet because all these wires are going through like the Strait of Hormuz as well at the ocean floor. I don't know how factually correct that is. If I'm spreading propaganda, I apologize. But I figure
I don't know how easy it is to go to the bottom of the ocean to cut those cables, to be honest with you.
That's right. I like that. I like that.
I don't know the feasibility of that. Maybe AGI has been achieved when we can do that. But or maybe that's our opportunity to shut it off. But in the end of the day, I think one of the things that is super interesting about decentralization is the power to potentially do something. So let's say someone did cut off the internet. I'm right now, I guess, in the process, a long process of having an option to do something about it. Like if that does happen, I've been learning recently a lot more about ham radio, amateur radio here in the States, and the fact that you can get a license for it to practice using different frequencies and being able to transmit different messages across potentially halfway across the world. So I think it's really interesting to learn more about these decentralized groups that have come before crypto and see potentially how they operate and how they've been successful without the tokenization part of it, and then applying those same principles.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I think my camera froze. Can you see me?
No.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. My computer is freezing, but you can hear me. No, I
Yeah.
think that's a fire take. I appreciate you unpacking that and even just like kind of looking at it that way. It's all with the big take.
Awesome. Well, I have to go get dinner ready here soon.
What are you
I
cooking?
had a blast. I don't know. What are we cooking is the question.
Okay, what are y'all cooking? You don't know.
Well, that's the answer. What are we cooking? No, we're trying to do different new things, learn different recipes, try different cultural dishes as well. Um, I've been trying to bring some Indian spices home so that we can try some of my home dishes. When I was out in Oregon a few times, or I tried to make it. I successfully made it a few times, but
Stop playing with him.
I haven't recently. So yeah, no, it's been cool because it's like just like Vitalik was going to some of these self-sustaining like villages, the ability to cook for yourself, especially something that you really like, is something that gives you some self-satisfaction of understanding, knowing that skill. And I think that's super powerful because like cooking for me in college was like boiling or putting something in the oven, right? Like that was the extent of it. And even like when I was living on my own, a lot of that was that. So try like cooking something by cutting up vegetables and putting something in an instant pot, even though that's not even that difficult of a thing, and like putting in the correct amount of spices with volume. Um, was like cooking, and even that isn't like that crazy, but like being able to do that for the first time and understanding it's not that hard. Like you really just need to practice it like any other skill. Was huge, and I'm excited because like you said, traveling around the world gives you that perspective. And for me, I have been blessed with the opportunity to travel to different places, but a lot of it's been with family, and a lot of it's been seeing family and different family friends in different places and being able to go to tourist areas and see the sites. But a lot less of the, let's say, cultural experience you would get of like just going and meeting people that are in the Ethereum ecosystem that just live in an area. And I think that power is pretty cool of like, and it might not even just be ETH now, right? Like in lots of different major hubs, a lot of other ecosystems that are in crypto also have their, their different small areas that you can hit up that will have those folks that focus on that niche at one spot. So yeah, no, I'm excited. I think there's a lot of power in growing as humanity, of like bringing culture together, learning what's best from different cultures, and combining, because I think there's just power in learning about other cultures, and then also, like, behind that, if you're really interested, learning why different cultures do specific things. I think that's super powerful as well.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think the why cultures do things, right, and how they understand their own context, right? Because I feel like a culture has implicitly inside of it, right, some embedded worldview, and I feel like it's so embedded that it doesn't even like occur that way, But then you leave it, and it's like, okay, now I got to reconcile my notions about things, and so I think, like, what are those practices and where do they come from, and like what's the history, right? That maybe only they even really have as a preserved narrative in the first place. Like, I think that stuff is so sick. I think that stuff is so sick. I think it's super awesome that we're three men who are not white doing this crypto podcast. It's not just about crypto. I think about it every time I'm on here with you two. I'm like, yeah, it's so cool. I admire you both substantially, and I'm excited to just begin to jive on these ideas with you two, and to like get to know you both kind of in this process, in this journey, given that you're not people I've actually talked to a whole lot right outside this podcast really preceding this. I feel like we've been racking up more hours since we did the podcast on your show. So I'm excited about that.
100%.
Solid
I love
take.
it. That's a great take. I think
Love it.
learning more about people is the coolest thing about the crypto space. Like, for me, I came up the regen side, and I was very blessed to have a lot of cool people that were showing me different ways that blockchain could be used to help with the world, and like the ways they're being implemented right now. And I think a lot of the power of finding people in that side of the community, like Vitalik was saying, like the less party and speculative side, and the more like how can we change the world, is every single person has something personal that happened to them that is why they want to change the world for the better. And blockchain is somehow a universal solution for so many of those things. And it's pretty cool to see people finding a way to take this like free and open technology and use it to benefit their cause in millions of different ways. And I think that that's the most powerful thing of it all, right? Like you said, in the end of the day, if it all goes to zero, like we'll still have like the lives we impacted. So,
Amen.
Well said. Well said. W stream.
W stream.
Great idea. I appreciate you guys. Like, I think Zal, you said we should watch this. I appreciate you saying that. I'm excited for people to come to the podcast to get to see this right in the stream. This will be on my YouTube now, inside this feed. Let's talk about ETH. I think this was a smart thing to get in early.
Yeah, no, I think it's super powerful. I actually really like this style. I think we should find more styles of podcasts to create, because I would love to, when we have our feet under us, do a news show where we each bring, like, whether it's one or two or three, but we each bring like our favorite articles of the week that are curated, or our favorite like news actionable items. Like, there's millions of things. Even if we meet like 5 times a week, we could each bring 3 or 4 or 5 articles, right? So I think it could be really cool to like have a curated list of like the things that we each individually were most affected by in a week. I think that'd be a lot of fun, because we each are in our own space in the space. So I know we would uncover things that our communities each don't know about. And I mean, even if it's like me talking to my community sometimes, right? So plus, like, if we had the newsletter going, the transcriptions going, like all these other pieces ready and rocking and rolling, I think that could be really powerful to just jump into and vibe out once that structure and the consistency is going. But I love the having guests. I think the most powerful thing, especially like people that are building cool things, there's nothing better you can do than that, because in the end of the day, you'll always be able to go back to that and be able to have that record in time, just like a blockchain, of like proof that we had this conversation and you were doing this at this time. And now you're still doing this at a future time, and to kind of be able to see that growth. I think that's always one of the most powerful things. One of the first videos I uploaded to YouTube was a skiing video of me in 2014, maybe earlier, of me doing the first and only run I've ever done that was really dangerous, that I ended up going on my own. And it was just like every time I go back to that unlisted YouTube video, I'm like, wow, like it's kind of crazy to like think of that memory. So yeah, no, keep on getting us some awesome guests. It's really cool to see who we can chat with and how people are changing the world, right?
Huge facts. Sales killing it. Love it. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, W chat. That's what I'm talking about. Hope you guys enjoyed it for sure. If you have any other questions, yeah, feel free to ask away. And we'll be live.
Tap in every week, every day, depending on your flavor, and depending on your style of flavor as well. So yeah, thanks guys. Tap in. Appreciate you guys. Let's keep talking about ETH and have a good one.